Hello and welcome to the Sewing Whisperer and another episode in the Essential Seams playlist. In today's beginner-friendly tutorial, you learn how to sew eased seams using 5 different techniques. If this is your first time here, don't forget to check out the other seam tutorials in the series. Each one builds your skills step by step, whether you're brand new to sewing or just brushing up. Stick around for the final method. It's called Cheater's Ease and it's an absolute game changer. Want to sew along with me? There's a free downloadable pattern linked in the description below. Hi and welcome. If you're just starting your sewing journey, you're in the right place. I've spent over 30 years in the fashion industry teaching people to sew, and every one of them has been able to sew with confidence. In this series, I'll walk you through the essential seams you need to know step by step. Let's get started. I'm demonstrating these seams on an industrial machine, but don't worry, everything I show can be sewn on any domestic sewing machine because it's the technique that matters most, not the machine. Why do we need ease? Ease is most commonly used in sleeve heads, where the sleeve is slightly larger than the armhole. This extra fabric makes the sleeve move more comfortably. Without it, the sleeve pulls tight and restricts movement. You'll also find ease in trouser blocks. The front inner leg is often 0.5 to 1.5 or 1/4 of an inch to 5/8 of an inch longer than the back to allow for natural movement. Another example, back shoulder seams are sometimes longer to accommodate dart shaping. Instead of sewing a dart, that shaping is eased into the shoulder seam. Ease is harder to manage when the fabric is dense or on the straight grain. It's much easier with off-grain seams or fabrics like tweed or boucle. Easing can be tricky at first, but by the end of this video, you'll be easing like a pro. Let's dive into the 5 methods. For each technique, we'll start with a rectangle sample to practice the skill and then apply it to a sleeve sample for real-world finesse. Method 1, lots of pins. This is the most common method used by home sewers, but also the most time-consuming and, to be honest, my least favourite. Rectangle sample. Cut the fabric and mark the notches. Place the panel to be eased on top. Pin the centre notch and each end. Divide the ease into halves. Push each ease bubble in half and pin in place. Then quarters, pushing down ease bubbles and pinning as you go. Sew with a 1 cm or 3/8 of an inch seam allowance with the ease panel on top. Use a pin to help distribute the fabric evenly. When finished, press the seam towards the ease side. Sleeve sample. Cut the sample and mark the notches and the seam allowance on the shoulder edges. Pin the shoulder seam with the back on top. Ends first, then the centre. Notice how the fabric can be stretched slightly because it's not on the true grain. This helps with manipulating the ease. Divide the ease into quarters and pin. Sew with the ease panel on top, smoothing with a pin as you go. When completed, push the shoulder seam to the back. Pin the sleeve matching the notches and ends and dividing the ease. Sew the sleeve on top, smoothing with a pin as you go. When completed, press and ensure the seam goes towards the sleeve. If you can master this method, you're well on your way to handling sleeves confidently. Method 2, gathering threads. A reliable classic method, especially useful when you need more control over the fabric. Rectangle sample. Set your machine to the longest stitch length. Pull 10 centimeters or 4 inches of thread out before starting. Don't back tack. Set 2 rows of stitching on the right side of the fabric, the first on the seam line and the second between that row and the raw edge, leaving 10 centimeters or 4 inches thread tails on both ends. Pin first, then gather. This helps distribute the ease evenly. Pin notches and ends. Wind the thread around a pin on one end. Pull up the threads to gather the fabric. When finished, wind the pulled threads around a pin. Adjust the ease evenly. Reset the stitch length. Mine is set to 3. Then sew just to the left of the first gathering line. This saves unpicking the ease stitches later. When finished, press the seam towards the ease side. Sleeve sample. Sew the shoulder seam as the previous sample and push it to the back. Apply the same technique to insert the sleeve. Method 3, feed dogs do the work. My favourite. This is the fastest method and my personal go-to. It takes a little practice but saves so much time. Rectangle sample. Place right sides together with the ease piece underneath. Back tack to secure the start. Hold the top layer quite firmly, pulling it gently up and towards the front. With the underneath layer, push the fabric out to the right and up a bit towards the needle, so it's bunching up slightly. Then pull the top layer down to hold the underneath layer in place. Gently pull the underneath piece to the left. Note that my fingers are doing a lot of the work in there to manipulate the fabric into place, so the seam allowances align. The two centre notches are now matching. Run your finger along the stitch line to feel for and smooth out any tucks. Sew to the centre notches. Repeat for the second half of the seam. Keep adjusting the underneath layer as you sew if necessary. You can also try holding the top layer up firmly and let the teeth of the machine ease the underlayer in. Here is a second sample of just holding the top layer up and letting the feed dogs or teeth do the work. Sleeve sample. Sew the shoulder seam using the same technique with the ease underneath. Note that I have once again marked the seam allowance with a notch at the start and finish. Push the shoulder seam to the back. Place the sleeve down first, ensuring the corresponding notches are going to align with the armhole. Pin the shoulder seam to the centre notch. Back tack at the start to secure the ends. Use the same technique of holding the top layer while pushing the bottom layer to the right and slightly towards the needle. Bring the top layer over the top, holding it firmly. Gently manipulate the underneath layer into place so the seam allowances match. Sew to the shoulder notch. Repeat for the second side of the armhole. Press the sample with the seam facing the ease side. It's amazing how smooth this can be once you get the feel for it. Method 4, hand tacked ease. When all else fails, or you're sewing one-of-a-kind specialised garments, this method gives you total control. Rectangle sample. Pin as in method 1. Hand tack with a needle and thread the ease into place inside the seam allowance. Remove the pins. Sew with the ease panel on top or bottom, it's your choice. Sleeve sample. Same process. This is especially helpful on jackets and coats with large amounts of sleeve ease. Method 5, cheater's ease, the sewing hack. This clever trick works beautifully on tightly woven fabrics like cottons and shirtings, but won't work on looser weaves such as tweed or boucle. Rectangle sample. Remove the bobbin and unthread the needle. Sew the ease panel with a 6mm or 1/4 inch seam allowance, holding your finger behind the presser foot to create a fabric build-up. Sew halfway, release the build-up, then repeat to the end. Replace the bobbin and rethread your machine. Sew the seam at 1 cm or 3/8 of an inch with the ease panel on top or underneath. I've sewn half with ease underneath and half with ease on top, so you can see the difference. Sleeve sample. Same step, same magic. I've sewn half with ease underneath and half with ease on top, so you can see the difference. Final thoughts on the methods. My favourite method is number 3, let the feed dogs do the work. But different fabrics call for different techniques. It's great to have all the options in your sewing toolbox. Next up in the Essential Seams playlist, darts. You'll learn why we need them and how to sew them so they sit beautifully. If this video helped you, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe and hit the notifications bell so you don't miss the next one. And let me know in the comments, have you tackled ease before? Which method did you use? Thanks for sewing with me, and I'll see you in the next video.